What if someone could reach inside your mind and nudge your thoughts, your feelings, even your choices? Not with a computer, not with drugs, but with waves you can't see, signals you can't feel. Sounds like science fiction, right? Yet in the 1970s, the US government filed a patent for exactly that, a system designed to influence the human brain. And the craziest part? They documented it. They drew diagrams. They submitted it, officially. But how much of this ever became real? That's the question we're chasing today. U.S. Patent US3951134A isn't about gadgets you can hold or weapons you can point. It describes a system using electromagnetic fields to reach into the mind, to alter perception, emotions, even behavior. The inventor, a man working quietly in the labs of the 1970s, claimed it could, in theory, allow a trained operator to subtly influence thoughts. Imagine walking into a room, turning on a machine, and sending waves that interact with another person's brain. Waves that could calm, distract, or even manipulate. Crazy, right? But the patent drawings are detailed, the diagrams are precise, and yes, it was filed, approved, and stored in government records. It raises questions about secrecy, ethics, and the edge between science and science fiction. So how was it supposed to work? According to the patent, the system used carefully tuned electromagnetic emitters and receivers calibrated to the human nervous system. Signals were broadcast in specific patterns designed to sync with brain waves. Think of it like a radio station for the mind. If you tuned in just right, the song playing would be your thoughts, your mood, your focus. In theory, an operator could nudge someone's attention, influence a decision, or trigger subtle emotional changes without the target even knowing it. Now, let's be real. Nobody actually demonstrated this in real life. There's no footage, no prototype shown to the public, but the diagrams, the equations, the frequency charts, they all exist. They're real. Let's step inside the signal. The patent wasn't about brute force. It was about harmony, about finding that fragile resonance where the human mind begins to hum along with a frequency it can't even perceive. Every thought, every flicker of emotion carries its own vibration, measurable, rhythmic, like an invisible heartbeat echoing through the brain. The system described in the patent didn't just transmit waves, it listened, it adjusted, it searched for the perfect pitch, the one that made neurons dance in sync with the machine. Picture it, a pulse emitted into the air, a soft shimmer of energy brushing against the skull. The brain responds, faintly, almost imperceptibly. The device detects that response, recalibrates, and sends another pulse, closer, tighter, more precise. Each cycle brings the two systems, human and machine, closer together until they sync, and once synchronization is achieved, influence becomes possible. A shift in rhythm could slow the heart. A change in wavelength could cloud judgment or clear it. Longer exposure might soothe, or confuse, or rewire a mood entirely. It's not mind reading, it's mind tuning. What started as an experiment in frequencies quietly drifts towards something else, something that feels less like technology and more like sorcery dressed in equations. But here's where it gets even stranger. The patent wasn't hidden in a vault or stamped classified. It was filed publicly. Anyone could read it. Anyone could see what it described. Which raises the question, why? Why would someone submit something so unsettling, a design that reads like a blueprint for mind control, to a public record? Was it meant as a warning, a test? Or was it one small fragment of a much larger experiment quietly unfolding behind closed doors? Because the timing wasn't random. The 1970s were an age of paranoia, secret experiments, and Cold War psychology. Governments on both sides of the Iron Curtain were obsessed with invisible weapons, ways to influence behavior without leaving a trace. MK-Ultra, electromagnetic research, psychic warfare, it all blended together in a haze of ambition and fear. So maybe this patent wasn't fantasy. Maybe it was just the piece they were willing to show us. Why file a patent for something so strange? Was it purely experimental, or was it part of a deeper, classified military program? Could versions of this technology still exist today, quietly influencing people without our knowledge? Some argue that the Cold War era was full of wild experiments, mind control, psychic research, secret signals. Others say the patent was just theoretical, a curiosity in a dusty filing cabinet. But think about it. Even if the system never left the drawing board, someone had to imagine it, calculate it, and describe it in detail. That's human ingenuity and human obsession, all wrapped into one. Now pause for a moment. Imagine this system was real. Imagine someone had the ability to influence your thoughts or emotions without your consent. How would that feel? Would it scare you or fascinate you? Science has always pushed boundaries, but where is the line between discovery and control, between protection and manipulation? And here's the kicker. If this system could be built, how far would it go? Could it be used for good? Or could it quietly shape decisions we think are our own? US 3951134A, filed, documented, and debated, a real patent for a real concept that seems to reach straight into your mind. But the real question isn't whether it works. The real question is, how far could the human mind really be pushed? Subscribe to the Patent Files and join us as we uncover the strangest, most unbelievable inventions ever documented. Because sometimes reality is stranger than fiction.